Ladies and gentlemen, we are blessed in the presence of a global clinical research analyst. This is Mr. Kelvin Sasser. I mean, he's a philanthropist. He's just a global icon, you know, with research all across the globe, you know, worldwide, a wealth of knowledge. We're here at Barnes & Nobles. As you can see, he has a major book signing going on right now, but I was able to pull him aside just to pick his brain about his you know, dominant medical research that he always does. And we really want to pick his brain about tuberculosis. You know, tuberculosis is just something that's going on, you know, in a lot of children, and it's something that we really want to understand, and we really want to know more about, and just want to pick your brain about it right now. Can you give us a little bit of knowledge about tuberculosis, what it is?
Yeah, so what we'll start off with tuberculosis is it's a bacterial infection by a bacteria called Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and it affects the lungs. And usually, so what happens with tuberculosis is the symptoms are like indiscreet. So it kind of looks like a common cold. You have like night sweats, cough, fever, stuff like that. So people, they just take it as a common cold. The common cold, it really affects a lot of people. So they don't really think that it's a big deal, or they just think that it may be just something that they'll get over in a week or so. And it's definitely not something that you can get over in a week. You definitely need treatment for it.
Right. So we've been doing a lot of studies, a lot of research about tuberculosis, and it really affects the lungs. And you know, we see that a lot of children suffer from tuberculosis and they're dying. And we noticed that, you know, here in the Americas, but also like in other regions such as the Middle Eastern countries, especially South Africa. Do you know anything about what's going on in South Africa with tuberculosis?
Yeah, so tuberculosis, it affects, it's a disease that it's in every country in the United States, or every country in the world actually. But the most thing is it affects kids in South Africa the most, because what happens is it affects kids 3.5 times more than it does adults. And what that comes from is it's a disease that's passed on from adults to children. And so when adults contracted, then they pass it on to the children, and that's how it goes from generation to generation to generation. And the kids, if they're lucky enough, they live long enough, and they grow up with tuberculosis, and then there are different types of tuberculosis. But what happens with children, there becomes it's a medical, like a resistant strain of tuberculosis. So they grow up with it, and it's not easy to treat. Like any other kind of disease, the sooner you learn, the sooner you know that you have it, the faster way you can treat it. So that is one of the things that I think will help with to cut down on the epidemic of tuberculosis, particularly all over the world, but particularly in South Africa, because it's affected them so much.
Mm-hmm. So what can actually help you know, prevent, monitor, or do like an early detection of the tuberculosis spread in South Africa? Like, is it more about educating the parents about it, or an increase in medical technology, or more medical research?
Well, I think it's a couple of different answers to that question. One thing is being able to educate people about what tuberculosis is and what happens, and what the signs and the symptoms are. You know, like, if you're from what I found when doing research, one of the main things is the night sweats. So if you're having night sweats, that's not something that you can just write off or say, oh, I just get hot at night, because that's not normal behavior. You know, you put a fan on, and some people put a fan on them, and then that kind of stops the night sweats, but they're steady hot. So that's one of the things. Also, another thing is the education about what tuberculosis is, how it affects people, and how it can be treated once you know about it. It's similar to, I won't say exactly like polio, but how polio was eradicated once we found out what it was. We were able to do more research, and that's another point that that'll help eradicate it. More research, more research, more funding for that research, and I would also say education. But I would think education is number one, because we can do all the research that we want, but if you don't know what it is, and you don't know what the signs and the symptoms are, you don't know that there's medicine out there, then the medicine's out there, it won't be any use to you if you don't know where to get it, how to get it, or how it's even used.
Mm-hmm. And I was also honored to know that Kelvin is putting up organizing a team, you know, for the medical research of tuberculosis, and He's looking for the funding and everything like that. So can you talk about your team and what the expectations are with that?
So with my team, the expectations are we've been working with the World Health Organization, and we're like, I guess, a subsidiary of the World Health Organization, where it's a team of like 5 people, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to find a way to be able to look out for more early detection, and also early detection, also more thorough treatment for tuberculosis. For instance, like there's some ways that you can diagnose tuberculosis on an X-ray or a CT, if you can see it on the lungs and things like that. That's also another way besides just having the signs and the symptoms. If you go and get a regular checkup, a 6 months checkup for male and females, and that may be also something that'll help be early detection. You know what I mean? You might not even have any symptoms, so it's not just you have the night sweats and you have the coughs and tuberculosis. You may have tuberculosis and don't even have any of those symptoms. But if you can go do screenings for your lungs, which you're supposed to do anyway, screens for your lungs, as far as cancer, stuff like that, chest X-rays, stuff like that, that will also be a help in early detection. So I just think more education about it, and then that will allow us to have more education about it. And to be honest, that will have more people invest more money, and that would also make it easier to have more research. Research is good, but we have to be able to have money to be able to do that research. So I just wanted to give you some stats about tuberculosis, because it affects. The stats are ever changing, so I just found these stats are as early as this month. So let's see. So the facts are 4,384 people die of tuberculosis every day. And the treatment for tuberculosis can last from 6 to 30 months. And there are as many as 1 in 5 cases of untreated tuberculosis that go out through the world untreated. And I think that number it's almost, most of that number, I think it's 2.8 people per 100,000. Wow. In South Africa have tuberculosis. Okay. So you see that it affects South Africa more. And how it affects them is people living in, I don't want to say poor conditions, but less healthy conditions, and people living in conditions where no ventilation, no air, and they breathe in everyone's breathing the same air, so to speak, and that's how it's being spread, and no one really knows about it. You ask them what they did that day, or you talk to them what they did that day, and they tell them they went to the doctor. I go to the doctor all the time, but you were sitting in a room with maybe 100 people, and maybe out of 100 people, exactly, 25 of those people had tuberculosis, so it's a great chance that you can get tuberculosis.
Okay, perfect. Wealth of knowledge. I'm so happy that I was able to pull him away from his book signing. It was a pleasure, Kelvin.
No problem.
Good luck, best wishes to the future, and I'm riding with you, man. If you ever need anything from us, from our station, we're here to support you.
All right.
Just let us know whatever you need. We're here for you.
All right, appreciate you helping me get the word out.
Yes, sir. You take care.
Yes. Hi, my name is Ben Anone.
I'm Reginald Chambers.
I'm Godfrey Charles.
I'm Miriam Heathery.
And I'm Lynette Cottingham.
Our great company, Lux Eyewear, has been a pioneer in the luxury eyeglass industry since 1961. Our name, derived from 2 Italian words, luce meaning light and ottica meaning optics, highlights the foundation we have prided ourselves on thus far. We have been able to provide our consumers, our extended family, 29 prestigious eyewear brands that encapsulates our founder's mission. By the end of 2017, we are established in 150 countries, occupy 61% of the total net sales of the optical industry, and have 13 distribution centers nationwide. We are a force to be reckoned with. Now we have the opportunity to expand this company, and it all starts with our Eyewear Vision Care. Now, the Eyewear Vision Care is one of our retail brands operating as the 2nd largest vision benefits company here in the United States. They have substantial healthcare organizations and also partnerships with government entities. Conjoining their healthcare expertise with our exquisite eyewear designs have the ability to create a product that can be marketed in the medical industry. Our multi-country expertise can aid in enlarging their company to become more global, and we can utilize their different benefits program to connect to future consumers. The medical opportunity is there. Our global presence is there. And Miriam's going to explain to you that what the medical opportunity is that's going to place our medical product at the forefront of this great country.
Tuberculosis is a global disease found in every country in the world. It is the leading infection cause of death worldwide. The World Health Organization estimates that 1.8 billion people, 1/3 of the world's population, are infected with TB. Last year, 10 million people fell ill from TB and 1.6 million died. TB is an airborne disease that can be spread by coughing or sneezing and is the leading cause of infectious disease worldwide. It is responsible for economic devastation, the cycle of poverty and illness. It entraps families, communities, and even entire countries. Among the most vulnerable are women, children, and those with HIV. There is a growing resistance to available drugs, which means the disease is becoming more deadly and difficult to treat. There were 558,000 cases of drug-resistant TB last year. Tuberculosis or TB is a bacterial infection that can spread through the air. It is the most often found in the lungs, but can also be found in any organs of your body. When a person coughs or sneezes, they can transmit so-called active TB. However, many people are also infected with an inactive form of TB, also known as latent TB. The bacteria that causes the disease is called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. MTB's unique cell wall, which has a waxy coating primarily composed of mycolic acids, also the bacteria to lie dormant for many years. The body's immune system may restrain the disease, but it does not destroy it. While some people with this latent infection will never develop active TB, 5 to 10% of the carriers will become sick in the lifetime.
Now the solution. We came up with this Lux Eyewear, which is a lightweight portable device that has rechargeable power source that can last up to 18 hours when fully charged. It has the stylish appeal of the Lux eyeglasses with X-ray functionality that is capable of imaging and interpreting the human body on the fly. So it can easily be worn by doctors and medical personnel, and all they need to do is tap the right side of it to activate the power source, and they begin to examine the patient. Most handy is the tool for detecting children, and especially the lungs and the early signs of tuberculosis strain. It has an inbuilt machine learning algorithm that enables the internal sensors in the lens of the glass to laser detect the TB strain. And upon detection of the TB strain, the sensors activate the zoom feature, revealing the exact strain location. This facilitates on-the-spot diagnosis and early detection, and minimizes treatment chaos, thus preventing the spread of the disease. The pricing is very affordable and very economical at $250 per unit. This is just half the cost of a traditional X-ray. And we all know that X-ray is a device, is a technology that is very necessary for detecting and monitoring the TB progression.
Currently, the best way to diagnose an individual with TB is to do a chest x-ray. Now, this costly procedures can be upward of $400, and additional tests may be required to determine what type of TB the individual may have. Now, it can be latent, meaning that the TB is infected inside the individual, but he is not contagious. Or it can be active, meaning that the individual have the active disease of TB and has the ability to spread it. Both types require treatment over a long period of time, but there is a need for a cheaper option that would provide longevity for the individual after being diagnosed and treatment has begun. Now, early detection is the key, and the sooner TB is detected, the greater the chance of saving a young child's life. The scanner Lux Eyewear has the capabilities of providing the necessary early detection with a cost that is half that of a current chest x-rays. TB is a curable disease, but only if caught in a timely manner. The sub-Saharan region accounts for 71% of the total global HIV and TB epidemic. Early in the interview, it was discussed how the close proximity of individuals in this region contributes to the quick contraption, but the failure of the TB disease and the symptom connection contributes to the decreased chance of efficient treatment. We have the fighting potential to eradicate this killer disease altogether. If TB continues to be passed down through generation, it has the potential to become a multi-drug resistant disease and could cost the world $16.7 trillion worldwide by the year 2050. This is a curable disease that has the magnitude of becoming a significant financial burden if not treated. Now, we can be a part of the mission to end TB epidemic by the year 2030 alongside the World Health Organization. Now, this opportunity will bring about future opportunities and increase our exposure of this already phenomenal company and a chance to be written in history as a life-changing brand. Now, Godfrey will provide the ways to place the scanner Lux into the hands of the South African medical doctors in Cape Town, South Africa, and stop this TB epidemic in its tracks. We have the resources, the connections to become an integral part of this movement, and now is the time.
Cape Town, South Africa is a great starting point for the new product because of the distribution channels already in place there. Cape Town offers a large consumer market with tuberculosis because it is in the top 10 reason leading to death in the country. Cape Town has more cases of tuberculosis than the US, Canada, United Kingdom, and Germany combined. Many in the area contract tuberculosis and never exhibit symptoms. Children of the area are the ones who suffer the most from the disease, and the main reason scanner Lux Eyewear is so important. The region lacks proper medical equipment and medicine to monitor those kids who are diagnosed and at risk of dying. Approximately 90% of South African economically active populations are found in areas surrounding the cities of Johannesburg, Cape Town, Durban, Pretoria, and Port Elizabeth. These 5 cities represent the country's major area of economic activity and consumer markets. Cape Town, as I mentioned, located at the southernmost point of Africa, is ideally positioned as a hub terminal for cargo to South America and the Far East. West East Africa cargo has grown substantially, making the Cape Town container terminal the terminal of choice for transshipment cargo. The terminal currently handles over 3,000 vessels per year and a gross of over 40,000 tonnage of gross weight. We will sell directly to South African retail organizations, including consumer corporations and cooperative groups of independent retailers, which assume the function of wholesale buying, selling, and also warehousing. Scanner Lux Eyewear. We will partner with the World Health Organization to use the eyewear not only for early contraction of TB in kids, but also use the product to scan for the HIV virus in those same patients. The overall use will first be to eradicate the TB virus, but also HIV affected in the same individuals. Many healthy people get infected with TB, but never develop the disease. But the HIV weakens the immune system and makes the people more susceptible to it. Yet, even among HIV negative people, the ultimate goal is 2 diseases and 1 patient strategy.
We really want to look into expanding further from Cape Town, South Africa. We're going to start our hub there, because we want to treat all of the children to the best of our ability that is suffering from tuberculosis. This is a hard thing to grasp, only because children, they cause there's a severe death toll in them because their immune system is weak. They get a widespread of it very easily from adults, from the HIV, and also from being around other people and in the environment, particularly in the air that is around them. They don't have the particular medical devices, the medical technology, or the medicine to control the spread of the tuberculosis. Adults really suffer from it a lot. Children suffer from it the most. The death toll is increasing every single year. And we want to attack Cape Town, South Africa right now. We plan to have everything implemented and start attacking by the end of 2019. Not only in Cape Town, Africa, but we want to expand into the whole continent of Africa. As soon as we finish the mark of 2019 with Cape Town, South Africa, we want to start implementing our broader successes into the continent of Africa starting in 2020. We want to set up hubs all over the continent of Africa. Then we want to expand into Europe, the Americas, and also in Southeast Asia, as you can see on the world map. There's a lot of children that are suffering globally from tuberculosis, but these 4 regions, Africa, the African continent, in Europe, in the Americas, and then in Southeast Asia, they're really being affected. They don't have the sources to attack the widespread tuberculosis.